wherever you are and when you listen to this podcast. So today we're going to have a very special episode and a guest on the podcast with us. I want to give a big welcome and a big thank you to Lorena, who is joining us today to talk about human technology, about leadership, emotions, and also decentralization. So Lorena is the founder of a pioneering community, Further. It's a community for women in Web3, which is kind of a really new thing, sharing education on blockchain and on AI, as well for individual women, but also for companies and corporate entities. I'm super happy to have the conversation together with you. Thank you, like again. So Lorena and I, we met, I think, 3 years ago in the Brussels crypto community. I had just come back from Mexico, so it was like that perfect merge of we started to talk Mexico, Brussels, crypto, energy, like just everything together. It was like, wow, like I'm not the only one having like all those things in my mind. And yeah, since those 3 years, we have had like super cool conversations, at least very inspiring to me, about blockchain, about what it means, about the decentralization, about the power of intention, for example, being aligned with your energy, what it means, leadership as a woman, as a sensitive person, and all those grounded practices that help us on the day to day. So yeah, I'm really again super excited to have you today and to be able to share a little of all those things that we've been sharing over the last times. And yeah, thank you for being here. Hi, Lorena.
Hi, Vanessa. Thank you very much for hosting me today. I'm very happy to be on your podcast and happy to share with everyone my journey. It's been a pleasure to meet you a few years ago, indeed, and to have those many common interests. Indeed, Mexico energy.
Yeah,
it's it was strange to have so many common interests, but indeed, it's very good, and we're still connected. So it means that there is something behind. I'm really looking forward to this conversation. And as you mentioned, I founded Further a few years ago to empower more women to get into Web3 and AI and to find their place in this evolution. And I also advise companies on AI talents and experts, indeed. So yes, there is many things we can uncover from behind the scenes that
exactly.
on our socials that we
Exactly.
have to navigate as human beings. And
Mhm.
I'm happy to have this discussion with you.
Yeah, as thank you for mentioning that as human beings and also as women.
Yeah.
I was a few years ago, I was not aware at all of what it means to be a woman in business and not just a woman and all that special power that we have. Men have their own, but we have our own. And it's a very special way to navigate um, still male dominant business orientation and mindset, which is nothing negative, but just the state as a society as it is. And in the end, the calling that we both have, you and I, of leading from the heart, growing a business from the heart and from something that is bigger than and beyond just us as individuals. And yeah, that takes something very special.
Indeed.
Yeah, so today we're gonna cover a few topics for those of you who listen to us, so that you know kind of what you can expect. Of course, we're gonna talk about human technology. We're gonna talk about the technology of emotions, especially in this case, and emotions in the sense that it's a tremendous and super important part of leadership, and you know how much I care about that topic. We're going to talk about vulnerability, risk taking, but also navigating entrepreneurship and a connection with energy, awareness, what it means. Is it really separate, or is it on the opposite united, which is something that we both believe in and just practice on the daily. And yeah, of course, chocolate cake at the end and dessert for me, talking about decentralization and the need for human in it. So well, let's start directly. Lorena, who are you? Which alien are you? And what brings you with us here on this planet?
Amazing. So where do we start? Indeed, as you would like that I start as a founder, a woman,
Yeah, well, you know
like.
what? Maybe just share with you a little of your story, what led you there. I can give a little context, but I remember that one of the things that we first talked about when mentioning Mexico, the first time that we met, was that you had been working in the hotel industry for long, and then it could seem like a drastical change to be today the founder and the guide of a blockchain movement, educating people, empowering women. So, what has brought you there? What has been the calling? What is laying on your heart? What is a little of that personal story that led you to that position today and that drive today?
Okay. Indeed, there are a few factors that behind what we see. Indeed, the change in the career that are leading my decisions, and indeed, I have this really interest into developing projects. And while I was in the hotel industry, I was a sales manager, which I loved because I could expand my networking, I could connect with people, I could travel. So it was very linked to my personality. But at one moment, I was stuck in my career growth. So I was thinking, okay, what can I do next? And I didn't know really what I wanted to do next. So I went and backpacked in South America. And then I
Mm.
came back and I was even more lost than when I left to go to South America. So it was very challenging to find what was driving me. So I found like a regular job just to say that I was working and just not to do nothing.
Mm.
And then I started to get some passion on the sides and like to study some things on the side. And it led me to different kind of activities. And then at one point, I was advised to go and see those crypto communities. And this is where I started to meet different kind of people, different
Yeah.
backgrounds, and that I was triggered by the topic itself, and I was triggered by
Mm.
the seriousness of this industry. Like to investigate like what's going on in these closed communities and like in this topic in like emerging technologies. It wasn't new, so there were already a lot of developments and communities, but it wasn't big either. So
Yes.
it was a perfect moment to get into it, and people were very friendly. So I started to dive more into that topic and learn more. And then I felt a bit alone as a woman in that industry.
Yes.
So I wanted to share that with other women. And I said, okay, what if I start like women only events? And then this is how it started. And it led me to today lead different kind of initiatives for women. And also while I was studying on the topic, also deliver trainings to companies. So this is
Yeah.
how it all takes shape without really knowing it at the beginning. It's building like step by step, and without
Yeah.
having a fixed plan from the beginning.
Mm-hmm. And that is the, I feel that is the invitation that we all have at the moment. I mean, I was a high performer also from a young kid, and then at school and then at university, and we've been learning and reinforcing also that way of success is having a business plan and a life plan on 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, and you should really go from step A to B to C to D. But honestly, this same way of working is the one that has led me sometimes to be totally burned inside or
Mhm.
misaligned with, in the end, something that is different than us. And I experienced it at Seed, and most probably you experience it also with Further, is those projects, although we have founded them, we have a vision for them, and we are the only ones carrying those vision and making bringing it to birth. Somehow they have their personality. So it's also that surrendering and awareness and consciousness to be able to see what the project needs, what it's calling into, and to serve
Yeah.
that the best. And to me, at least, that's a part that has always been that has been in the past quite complicated because I was coming into it in my own projects with a very straight driven mindset of step A, step B, step C, and it was just not working.
Ah, really? Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
not
okay,
not always. I mean, not for the, not for. It's a mix. I feel it's a mix of both.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. For me, I didn't have those kind of very strict objectives in my mind, and it was
Mhm.
the opposite almost. That I let the project go where it wanted to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Exactly.
I was trying to, as you said earlier, like to listen the calling and say, okay, where do I see, where do I find myself in a fit? And where do
Mm-hmm.
I find joy doing something in this project? Because I
Yes.
really want to put more energy in that. So, for example, the podcast resource that we launched 2 years ago was
Mm-hmm.
something that really inspired me, like to interview other women in blockchain and AI and get to know the journey, get to know the products, and really spend time with them recording was
Yeah.
something that was fulfilling me. So I was like, okay, let's spend more time doing that. And it led me to open all doors to other opportunities. So it became a way, but
Yes.
coming from something that it was really close to my heart, instead of spending time maybe on building like a course, a product
Mm-hmm.
that wouldn't be something that I would really feel necessary, or that would be close to my heart, but because everyone else say that it would be good to have a class as a woman community. It's like, yeah, but
Yes.
you know.
Totally.
Mm.
Totally, it's very right. And somehow I wanted to ask also what is leading from the heart for you. And I can see that talking about the heart in general is still a little seen as what's that topic? What is the heart doing in leadership or in business or something like that? But at the same time, and I think this just mentioning this is bringing this forward is thinking not only from the mind, but really thinking from what is feeding me, what is nurturing me, what is passionating me, what is inspiring me, and what is giving me joy, even if it's a
Yes.
business, even if it's a project. And my experience with that was when it was coming from the mind, and okay, this is the plan that I imagine for seeds, for the human technology project, for the water healing experiences. Like I love to create plans and to create big plans, but somehow when they only come from the mind, it's not working anymore, just because I have lost myself in not listening to what would feed me, what would still bring me joy or not, and allowing me to change and to switch when it was not bringing me joy
Mhm.
anymore. So I really admire you for having followed that inside voice since the beginning with further, and to, yeah, to listen to what the project was calling, to listen to what made you happy, and the podcast that you've created was one of those examples. In the end, that's the only balance that we can find.
Indeed, it's not easy, because you can have the big vision, but then to
Yeah.
let go on how to arrive to that vision, it's quite
Yes.
difficult, because you would like, maybe as you said, like to plan everything, but sometimes you have to pivot, sometimes the door is closed, sometimes another open, you don't understand, but you go and check what's happening there.
Yes.
And it's something, yeah, the pivoting and not understanding why some doors are closed, and then you have to knock 3 times before they open. So it's also
Yes.
something part of the entrepreneurial challenges, is that you don't have to stop at the first time that you try something. So,
Mm-hmm.
and leading from the heart, it's a very good example that you shared, and it's something also close to my heart. Yes, and to my heart, because the mind can be very tricky sometimes. And
Mm-hmm.
if you let the mind lead, you may not be on your calling or on your purpose
Yes.
path. So, and the mind can be very tricky on guiding you on a negative side or positive side, but usually it has a lot of negative thoughts. So
Yes.
the heart is the one who doesn't judge. So it's the heart is guiding you where it feels the best, but the
Yes.
mind will always try to tell you yes, but yes, but.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to be careful about leading with the mind. I mean, for me, the mind is good for the objectives, like concrete objectives, because you have to reach a goal or you have to reach
Yes.
something, and you need that by that timing. Okay, you have that kind of structure, but how do you get there and try to get there with the best of your health? I would say, because
Mm-hmm.
then
Yes.
you struggle a lot believing into your project, having impact, struggling a lot with your admin, with all the different tasks that you have to do, and the mental load, then you may have your heart being very like stressed as well, and
Yes.
you need to step back and clear that out, clear your mind, and then go back to your heart to be able
Mm-hmm.
to expand again. So it's very important to make the distinction between what happens here and what happens here.
Mm-hmm.
Be able, if you want to drive a business with numbers, if that's your objective, it depends. If you want to drive a business with impact, numbers, of course, you always need resources, but how you get it and how you generate them, it's it's your
Yeah.
choice. So
Yeah, and talking about fulfillment also, because I believe everyone has the potential to lead a business, to make it happen, and to be very mind oriented into, okay, this is my plan, and again, there is nothing wrong about it. Like, this is my plan, this is where I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna reach that number, and that is where I'm gonna be successful. For example, I wouldn't know percentages, but many people are just not fulfilled with that. And then when they reach that stage, they're like, okay, but why am I not happy? Why am I even more
Mhm.
stressed than I was before? Why is there still like a hole of happiness inside me and it's not enough? And that's where the purpose comes from.
Yeah,
Purpose or mission, and what you call alignment or the calling. Sometimes it's a big calling, sometimes it's a small calling. Just living day by day in alignment with what nurtures you, what makes you happy, what fulfills you, what makes sense, the big why. That is a thing that fills us in the end, and that is important. And that's also why it's actually important to be aware of it in the daily, not in 5 years'
yeah.
time, not in 10 years' time, just because it's time lost.
Indeed.
I
And
mhm.
yeah, go. Sorry.
No, please go ahead.
I want to say you have to kind of be happy in the everyday.
Yes.
You have to enjoy the process. It's difficult because, of course, you have many things to handle and to manage. But if you don't enjoy the process, it as you said, you will never find that later on. It's not
Mm-hmm.
something that you can get later. The joy. It's something that you have to embody today. So
Yes.
it's later on you can achieve some metrics, of course, but the feeling of being like happy or being at the right place at the right moment is in the present. It's not something that
Yes.
you have to look for, it's something that you have to embody. So that's very important. And I get that it's not always easy because we have so many things to think about and that
Mm-hmm.
we have to care. So that we sometimes we lost that feeling, we lose that feeling. But it's important that we have to remember that it's our own responsibility to own it.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And connecting to the why in the end, that is to me fun. That is one of the, I think if there would be two main words in my life, it's why and connection. It's really that, it always comes to that. But somehow when you face a situation in the professional life, in the personal life, and that you have the why you're doing that, why it matters to you, and even the why, starting to deconstruct that, when you can keep on connecting to that why, you always find a sense of purpose. And I
Mhm.
read it's Simon Sinek that had come with the power of the why, and then talking about the why, the what, and the how, explaining how the how is the most practical part. And you mentioned it also, how it happens, that is something that we don't always have the control on. But
Mm.
why we do it and what we do, that is really our ownership, sovereignty, calling, those questions that we have to answer for ourselves, and to have the courage to follow also with authenticity, because sometimes things are driving us from deep inside, but it's not what we have been used to for ourselves, what we have learned from our parents at school, or even what we're doing in the daily. So it requires to have an honest look inside in what is really important for me, why am I here, and what am I doing, and what do I want to do. And then the how flows and comes automatically, and we can just follow that. That
Yeah,
is.
And it's important to be kind with yourself as well, because
Mm,
it's not always like a clear path, and it's not your fault if it's not a clear path.
that's
It's
very
okay.
true.
You need to navigate what's coming, so you navigate
Yes.
the best you can, but it's okay, and you're learning along the way, and you have to still trust along the way,
Yes.
and remain positive. So it's a lot of things that needs to be handled in the best of ways, but it's okay as well to not be okay. So
Hmm.
it's important also to know that, okay, if you have like some obstacles and you just want to be down for a few days, it's okay. It's not,
Yeah.
it's human. So
And that's life also.
yes, yes,
I
you don't
hmm
have to embrace everything perfectly. We are not perfect, so it's
no.
that's the thing.
You mentioned a word that is kind of essential in the work that I'm doing. Also, you talked about navigating, and it's been some time that to me the topic navigating uncertainty
Yeah.
has really come on top of all the rest. First, because in the uncertainty you have all the possibilities, and secondly, because you were talking about the mind kind of blocking us, talking about fear and wanting to control the things and have certainty. Well, it's good, it can make us happy, but it's also very limiting. And navigating uncertainty, the brain doesn't like uncertainty. So, a real leadership to me, and that's always where I've been. Leading the topic of leadership is around navigating uncertainty, having the courage to look at the uncertainty, to face and to feel the emotions that it brings to us inside, and to know how to act with those emotions, with the fear, with the anxiety, with the doubts that we all have in the daily life. So I was curious about you, about that. I know we've been talking personally about it also, about the courage to act beyond those fears, those doubts that are present. Everybody's living with the same
Mhm.
doubts. Would you have $1 on your account or $1 billion on your account? Like, everybody has doubts, anxiety, and fears, and most of the time about the same topics. So, what is that courage of emotions for you in the leadership? And maybe you have a story of vulnerability, of risk taking, like a special moment for you that you want to share with us. I would love to have your heart on that topic.
Those uncertainties are really not everywhere, but you are facing them quite often. So, indeed, it's something that you need to navigate. I'm trying to think about a concrete example, but what came to my mind when you spoke about it is that it reinforced my faith in life,
Mm,
because without that I wouldn't be able to be at peace navigating those obstacles. So
that's
I
very
need
true.
to grow my faith in life in order to face those uncertainties, because otherwise it's very
Mhm.
challenging to, as you said, you have the different fears, anxiety, you have the angriness if something doesn't happen as it should, or if you are deceived by a collaboration or by something else. So you're mad at the situation, for the situation, and it's, you need to keep faith that everything
Mm,
happens for a reason, and that everything will happen for the best, and that everything will fall together
yes.
in the end. So that's the, for me, what happened during those past years is that I I am extending my faith in order to be able to face those uncertainties with more
Hmm.
peace, inner peace, because I would like that's my goal, to really fully be peaceful into this world.
Mm.
And that's a very challenging thing to do, knowing that we are in a stable and volatile world. So
Hmm.
it's for me, it's one of my challenge.
That's very true. I love the fact that you just mentioned faith. Again, it's one of those words that are maybe categorized, like and a lot linked to religion,
Yeah.
which doesn't have to be the case. And there's so many words that are used by some ideas, but they exist as such. And yeah, faith over fear, right?
You
It's always a
you need,
choice.
yes, yeah, you need to give your trust to something else. You
Yeah.
can, because if you take the full responsibility and the full ownership of all what happens in your life, then you can only blame yourself, and you can
Yes.
only be mad if something happens wrong. But the
Mm-hmm.
thing is that there are things that we are not in control of and that
Yes.
we are not aware of, and there are things that are outside of our control. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the part where the faith plays a role. It's where
Yes.
all what we don't have control on, and that you have to let go.
That you have to let go of. Totally true.
Yeah.
I'm reading that book at the moment that is mind blowing and really helpful for me. It's called The Surrender Experiment,
Okay.
which is really talking about the story of a actually now very successful corporate person that was starting to just want to meditate and do his yoga during like his whole day in the woods, and he had a calling to really surrender to everything that life would present at him, whatever would be his personal preferences, like I prefer to do this or I don't want to do this. Well, to surrender to the calling of life to him. And faith goes a lot with that, is knowing that there is something, there is a reason why things happen, and that it's always for our best, that we have the possibility to know it or not, and that it doesn't mean that it has to be all pink and flowers and happiness at the moment. That's also to me the real leadership with the emotions, is being okay with the fact that you might not feel good feeling fear, you might not feel good feeling anxiety or stress or with the doubts. But it's not about the feeling is not the problem, is how we react to them, not even how we respond, but how we react to them. And if at those moments we decide to stop doing the things, or if we decide to take a step beyond and go through it and surrender to, we don't know what, but surrender to something good that is coming.
Yeah, and indeed, be kind to yourself. It's okay to
Yes.
have those kind of feelings, and it can go. I think it's important to be surrounded by good people and by people who care about you, because it does help. We are human beings and we need each other. So it's important that you can have someone who you can talk to, how you can share that you are in a down moment and
Yes.
you need maybe just to have a cup of tea or like a dessert or whatever, but or change your
Exactly.
mind, or go and do something else. For me, what helps me in my the growing of my activities is that I would like to avoid to have a full break because I went too far into my not acknowledging my feelings or whatever. So I tend to step back time to time in order to slow down and then repivot and go in a better direction where I think I will be more aligned. So I try to do those pivoting during the journey to avoid to stop at fully stop at one point, but then I am slower, but that's my own way of doing it.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
sometimes people are still asking me, yeah, but you are not there yet, you're not there yet, you're not there. But yeah, but I'm okay with that. I mean,
Yes.
and that's also very challenging when you're building something. It's all the, the opinion of everyone that you
And the external expectations. Yeah.
yes,
The
and you
projections.
yeah, you have to stand strong and say, okay, that's my own way of doing things. And it's okay, it's true. I would love already to be a
Yeah.
10K further, 10
Yes.
step further, but I'm not. So, and but what is also very important, it's how are you celebrating yourself? How are you proud of the journey that you already have done? Because you can have
Yes.
all those remarks that you didn't do a lot of things yet, but who is going to tell you, ah, congrats, you have done already all of that?
Yes, yes, that is so true. I feel that is the field where I'm learning the most at the moment, and really something that is not new because I was aware of it, but just like everything in this world, you know things or you have read them, and then you think it's okay, but it's not okay. Like
Yeah.
it is. What I mean with okay is like it is not. You have to integrate them, you have to embody them, you have to live them to really experience them and move with it. But celebrating is just so important. To me, not doing it has made me just not aware of the steps that I had taken, not aware of everything that I had already done. But most important, everything that I had already become and how I had changed alongside the way. And just not looking, I was always looking, in front, and like just moving forward, not forcing, but just that's my natural tendencies, moving forward and going. But sometimes stopping and reflecting and being like, okay, what happened? And it can be what happened this week, what happened last month, what happened last year,
Yeah.
is changing your whole mindset also about yourself, about the sense of contentment. Because at least for me, those are the only moments that I would start to allow myself to be proud also of what I do, and
Mhm.
not always looking forward to, okay, this is still what has to be done.
Yeah, indeed,
Hmm.
indeed. No, it's very important. And it's good when you have friends, family, or people around you you're working with. They can also cheer you up and say, but look where you have come from. Look that opportunity that you had,
Yeah.
and you wouldn't have had it 1 year ago. Look where you are today. So it's good to have also this kind of environment that can
Hmm.
cheer you up and remind you where you come from and where you are now. Because it's true
Exactly.
that when you are busy building, you don't you can take time to reflect on yourself, and it's very important, but it's not always the first thing you do. So,
No, it almost never comes on the list of priorities, and
yes,
still, I believe it should. I believe it should for long term balance and health, mental health, emotional health, even physical health, because your body is just a reflection of all the rest. It would be essential.
indeed, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and surround yourself with both, the ones who are like sharing their opinions, but also the one who are cheering you up, because that's important.
Yes, that's very important. That
Yeah.
is so nice to hear. Lorena, I have a last question or last topic that I want to touch with you, and I believe some of your super well done education and the way of explaining things in a very simple way is going to be really worthy for the people who listen to us. Is I want to talk about decentralization and just a short intro. So we've been talking about the crypto communities, crypto world. I'm not a big we tend to talk that way, but I'm not a big fan of always mentioning the crypto world, just because to me it's so much wider than that. Crypto is can be seen as a trend. Many people speculate on it, make money, lose money on it. It's in the media. But what I personally believe in and what made me go into this world, not of the crypto actually, is the technology behind it. The blockchain, what it means, what is the blockchain, and why we're talking about a decentralization instead of a centralized world, like a centralized world like we're living in right now, that we report to a government, we report to a central entity, a bank. And we're building now with the blockchain, with the cryptos, with kind of AI is helping also, but a decentralized world. And I always love to say, and I really deeply believe in that idea that this technology decentralization needs that we empower women and men and humans. But we need to decentralize the humans and help people bring the power back inside themselves also to make better decisions in a decentralized world. So I know, like I had read an article for further also to further about it, and we had talked about it. Like, can you share briefly with our audience what's decentralization? What's your stake on the technology and human side? Yeah.
Thank you, Vanessa. Yes, it's a very huge topic, and you can look at it from different angles. I also stepped in through first the crypto curiosity, and then I understood that the technology behind was interesting, and
Mm-hmm.
I started to attend like corporate events where it was being developed for other use cases. And what you have to understand by decentralization, it's a way of storing data that is different. It's not owned by one entity, but it's divided
Yes.
into different devices, yes, computers, and so the information it's distributed, it's decentralized, it's
Yes.
stored decentrally, and in terms of crypto currencies, it allows peer-to-peer payment without an intermediary. So that's really the main concept, and you can have it not only for currencies but also for other type of information. You can
Yes.
decentralize your personal information, and so you own your personal information, and then you share it with someone else without having an intermediary. But there can be some validators along the way if it has to be a government or something else. So it's
Mhm.
another way of storing data, but also because we have arrived in a generation where data is gold online. So
Yes.
we had to find other ways to protect data. And this is a way, decentralization, on how to protect data, personal data, and how to use it differently. And in
Mhm.
terms of, as you said, regarding personal data, but personal value as well, how do you protect
Yes.
your personal value? How are we decentralized but living all together, but being having our own value, but in a global world? I think this is the challenge, but also the current momentum we are in. It's that we are in a global world where everything is open because internet gives us this window of over the world. But
Yes.
it's also a challenge in the sense that the more you care about something that is very far, the less you are concerned about what's happening next to you.
Mhm.
It's something that we may consider as well, like building again, like smaller communities, being back and caring about your neighbor, about what's
Yes.
happening in your surrounding. So it's something that would be interesting also to learn. And those communities are also, in fact, um, trying to help each other. And that's one of the goals as well.
That's super interesting. I love your take on it, especially that you're specialized in educating
Yes.
people and also corporates around it. Yeah, very big topic, and for sure that is gonna evolve and change and grow a lot in the coming years.
The
Thank you
only thing
for
I want to share with the years I've been in the
yeah.
space and all the study I've done is that the full decentralization, it's a bit utopic. It's not
Mm,
something that it's easily reachable. There is always like a small concentration of centralization in
yes.
the project, and if they go full decentralization, they need other automation or mechanics to make sure that
Mm-hmm.
it can run on the long term. But you
Yeah.
need someone to have the vision or to be able to lead inside where this is going, or to make decision quickly,
Mm-hmm.
because decentralization is based on communities voting, like and that is good. But full decentralization, like full, for example, decentralized autonomous organization, so those
Mm-hmm.
are the communities, decentralized communities. It happens that the most I interviewed them, they say that it's challenging to operate as fully decentralized. You
Yes.
need a leader, you need a small team of leadership, even though they give a lot of votes to the community. So they give a voice to the community, but it still requires a small part of centralization. So I think it's also we have to be honest about what we are aiming at, but also what is realistic.
Yes.
Um, so this is what I've been seeing in the space in the past years, that behind all the good values we would like to claim in this innovative ecosystem, that there are some mechanics that we have to still keep in order to
Yes.
drive projects further. Yeah.
Yeah, and also if you think about it, it's been thousands and thousands, thousands of years, even in the smallest part of the world, that every tribe always had a chief. And I believe there is a huge difference between leading in an authoritative way and just not allowing anybody in the community to have its word, and also just being the guardian, being the keeper of a certain vision, and ensuring that the decisions that are made by the community are also serving the purpose of a tribe, of a project, of a community. And yeah, I mean, decentralization on a technology perspective is super interesting, also quite complex, also sometimes to understand. I have to be honest, I don't understand everything about it. That's sure and certain. But to me, and the thing that I really want to share with that is the importance of helping all of those individual people in a community in this world to actually know how to take a decision. Because if we want to lead to a world where instead of having a government taking all the decisions for us, a bank taking all the decisions for us, or those centralized entities taking all the decisions for us and giving our power away, is it's nice to say, it's nice tag to say, like, I have my power back, like I own my power. Okay, but what does it mean? It comes with a responsibility.
Indeed.
So when you're going to fear something, what decisions are you going to take? Or is it going to be for your good, or just for your to feed your own fear and avoid to see that? So again, that whole topic of awareness, emotional intelligence, real leadership, sound leadership is an individual story before any other collective story.
But that's interesting to hear because indeed you speak about getting back your power.
Mm-hmm.
And when I speak to people about disintermediation in Web3, in decentralization, I get also from the ones who are not willing to get into it the feedback of, yes, but I like to have an intermediary. I don't want to cut it, you know? I
Mm.
like to delegate my responsibilities. I don't want to be responsible.
It's easier, and honestly, again, there is nothing wrong or good or bad about it, but
No.
it's easier having to take decisions. I had to laugh about myself sometimes, but having to take a decision on what am I going to eat today? Am I going to the gym? At what time am I going to gym? Am I really going to go to the gym? Okay, what am I going to work on today? Is it like that big project, the small thing? What am I going to eat again? But it's time for dinner. Am I going to see that friend? Should I write her now or not? Like, we don't we're all sometimes not aware of how many decisions we have to take every
Yeah.
day, small ones, big ones. And sometimes, and I know that's also a lot the case with entrepreneurs or moms at home, and just like an entrepreneurial lifestyle, or whatever it would mean, is we have so many decisions to take, small ones and big ones, that sometimes we have a decision overload. And
Yeah.
when you're not really centered on what are your values, am I aware of all the amount of decisions that I have to take or not? It's normal to delegate some stuff. And if it doesn't come on your list of priorities, well, just delegate it, just because otherwise it's too many decisions to take and it's mental overload, it's energy consumption. It doesn't help you be clear and lead your life with happiness.
Indeed. No, it's as you said in terms of priorities and like
Mm-hmm.
what people prefers. If privacy, if being independent matters to them or not, then they will go
Yes.
one way or the other. But indeed, yeah, it's
Exactly. Thank you for mentioning that point. It's such an important one. Okay, Lorena, well, we're coming slowly to the end of this conversation, although I think we could just keep on talking about it for the next hour. I have three small questions for you to close this podcast together. First one is, what inspires you in life?
you give me one by one.
Yes, I will.
I thought, okay, I have the time to think. No,
Straight to the point.
peace, really,
Mm,
peace.
peace inspires you. That's
Yeah,
beautiful. Okay. What do you hope to give to our children on this earth?
joy.
I love your straight to the point answers.
I mean,
and and one tip that you would like to share with our audience about what it is leading from the heart for you.
mm, um, that it needs to be courageous. You need to be
Mm,
courageous to lead with the heart, and it's okay if you don't please everyone
mm,
because it will not. You by sometimes by leading with the heart or shining or being peace or whatever, uh, it tends to keep to take you away from certain situation or people, and it's okay, you don't have to take it personally.
mm.
So
Very cool.
yes, stay strong with your values, I would say. When
Yes.
you lead with the heart, don't doubt about it,
Hmm.
even though you may face some criticism.
That is really inspiring. Thank you. That is really cool and so true. So true. Well, thank you for coming today. So, for people who are listening to us, you can find Lorena and especially, well, further, the project further through the website, through your social media. Also, maybe you want to share with us what they can find on which media so they can start following you.
Yes, so we have the YouTube channel with the different interviews. We are already at season 2. On Instagram, you will see the daily life of Further, and
Yes.
then we're trying to get back on Twitter X to be there, and otherwise on LinkedIn, I'm very active as well.
Yeah, super cool. Nice. Well, thank you again. Thank you for those conversations and
Thank you,
for
Vanessa, for
making this
inviting
happen.
me. Yes, it was very great conversation, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.